what are the strategic moves that might happen this week. Okay, guys. Assalamualaikum. Hopefully, it's a good week this week. We know that February closed lower. February is a loss. Okay, which is typical in a year. We need to understand the most important month is actually January. January is the most important month, and we know Nasdaq closed higher in January. If January is bullish, the rest of the year is bullish. Okay, so for the fact of the matter is that January is good. Now, of course, we see February close lower. Right. The question is that whether we will see another lower month for March. Okay. Now, this is interesting. I'm a big fan of that pool. We see 10 million shares exchanged, right, in SP500 as well as Nasdaq, about 4 million last Friday. 10 million shares being bought in that pool in S&P 500 last Friday. Today's Monday. So obviously, I think that speaks something. Okay. So in order to do a game plan, we need to understand the key levels. Okay, we need to see what are the key levels we're talking about. Okay, first we know Nasdaq key level right now is 21,000. If Nasdaq can break 21,000, bullish. Okay, but so far now Nasdaq is trying to break 21,000. For SP500 it's 6,000. Okay, yet to be broken. But as I said, okay, we see massive dark pool, massive late print on Friday that suggests super large block of trade executed in the private exchange. Now, what we are going to do this session is, number one is we need to see how serious is the volatility of the stock market this week. That's the first one. We need to see how strong is the key level. We need to see what are the catalysts that is going to happen this week. Okay, catalysts. We know we will see, Chairman of Federal Reserve Jeremy Powell at the end of this week. And the first week of this week is the first week of the month, which typically very strong week. Okay, and only the first week of the month is seasonally bullish. Bear in mind. Okay, of course we have non-farm payroll. We got job data this Friday. All right, and don't forget March also is typically bullish. Seasonally, March is bullish. First week of the month is seasonally bullish. Maybe we'll see something, sparks this week. Of course, we've seen a lot of volatility over the last few weeks. I think my word for this week is relief rally. Recovery relief rally with volatility. We see oversold condition most of the stocks. So probably we'll see a lot, short-term bounce. We see Palante, we see Tesla, we see Apple, even Nvidia. They are set for a bigger bounce. Okay. Interest rate is the key direction here, right? So far, the yield is the lowest in the year in 2025. You see 10-year treasury bond yield, right now is 4.1, 4.2, which is the lowest in history. Okay, VIX volatility index, right, is one of the highest over the last few months. Currently is above 20. We need to be very careful, right? So this week game plan, we need to balance all these catalysts. Fed, Trump tariff policies, his clash with President of Ukraine, Zelensky. There might be some geopolitical tension, right? A little bit risky on the news front, on the fundamental front. But again, I'm a technical man. I think we need to trade based on what we see, not what we hear, right? So I think this is what we're going to do. We're going to track what are the key economic data, what are the major catalysts, what are support resistance level, the top sectors probably to watch. Okay, I think this week the top sector is going to be interest rate sensitive sectors, right? Maybe utilities, maybe real estate, probably we're going to see even banking and finance, right? Healthcare to a certain extent, of course, consumer staple sectors, because these are all defensive sectors. Okay, but bear in mind, we see volatility over the last few days. This might be a warning. We see a surge in that pool activity, although it's lately reported on Friday. We just know today, but I think that is going to be very, very interesting for this week. So what we will do is that, okay, how are we going to do a trading plan? Okay, so in order to do a trading plan, we need to understand what are the key economic data, right? First, right, is economic data, right? We see non-farm payroll at the end of this week. Okay, not only that, we also need to know what are the catalysts. Okay, of course, as usual, the catalyst is going to be Fed. We're going to see what Trump's going to see, what Trump's going to say at the end of this week, right? The Trump policies, Fed, and earnings. Okay, we all know that earnings is over. Not much earning anymore, so earnings probably less catalyst for this week. All right, and then of course, what are the key level for Nasdaq as well as for S&P 500? I'm looking at around 21,000 for Nasdaq, and also for S&P 500 probably around 6,000, which is yet to be broken. Okay, now of course we need to prioritize news sensitive stocks. Okay, such as Nvidia, right? Such as Tesla, right? We all know these are the most bought stocks. Okay, of course Apple, right? I would say VIX is important, right? volatility index, as well as the yield, right? These are two important index that we must watch go forward. Okay, of course, we are all traders. We need to know what is our profit taking goals. Some of us are looking around 5%. Some of us are looking around only 1%. Some of us are looking very aggressive, profit taking goals about 10% in a week. So please make sure you all track what is your goals, you update your plan daily, right? And assign your stop loss level accordingly. Yeah. I think your entry and exit point is very important over the next few days. Okay, so that is my quick, my tips. I think let's start with S&P 500. I'm a big fan of large order block, right? This is S&P 500. We see there's a strong order block here and there, right? On a daily chart, we don't see any super large, what we call it, selling block here. So as at now, S&P 500 stand at 5938. We should be looking around 6,000 soon, right? For something meaningful for us to enter, which is yet to happen. But it's good to see this large, super large order block. Okay, we see what we call this institutional positioning, right, ahead at that 200 MAs. Okay, these are 200 moving average. We see institutional positioning, right? They may expect some massive volumes, potentially billions, over the next few days. Okay, we don't see that yet in the public market, but in the dark pool, yes, this is exactly what we see. This is confirmed by Nasdaq, right? There's also Nasdaq, right? Nasdaq key level 21,000. There's 100 MAs. We see strong formation here. This is the clues on the market direction. The intent by the institutional to position themselves ahead. I don't see the blue, what do you call that, rectangle. That means there's no meaningful selling yet to happen at this point of time. Support resistance, obviously 20,500. The key psychological level will be 21,000 as I said at this moment. Okay, this is where I think institutions going to defend their position, and also institution will be attracted to this level of 21,000, right? Sentiment check. We can do sentiment check. Let's do sentiment check. Let's look at the late prints, right? These are the late print. These are the dark pool late prints. On Friday, 20th of February, S&P 500. We see 10, right? We see 10 million shares, right? Change hand on that day. That's massive. We don't see that in weeks or even in months. Okay, 10.3 million, right? Right at that price, 584, and you all know now it's 590, which means this is an accumulation in the dark pool. Dark pool means private exchange, VVIP exchange. The smart money probably is accumulating 10 million shares. Of course, these are late print. It happened on Friday. Now, same with Nasdaq. We see 3.5 million shares change hand over the last few days, right? This is massive. This suggests institutional positioning right at the price. So if you look at dark pool, we know something massive is happening. Institutional positioning, institutional accumulation, right? The rest of the days, we don't see that. So what should we do now? We should cross-reference this price with current price, right? If the price align with a breakout, that is a strong signal. With the price, if this price 584 aligns with technical, indicator, probably we see bullish divergence and all that. That might be strong. And don't forget to watch your options flow, right? We need to see is there any bullish call sweeps? Is there any bearish put sweeps to monitor direction? Because normally institutions will coordinate this massive dark pool accumulation with call sweeps. Right now, anyway, stay nimble. Right, market is still volatile. Right, I would suggest that we have a quiet day today. Right, we don't see any sharp move today. I think we see institutional bets over the last 24 hours, which is good. Right, let's go back to our print. Right, this is Nasdaq. Okay, again, I would say 21,000 is a key level on the indicator on the daily chart. Let's take away these indicators. Let's do some of this chart pattern. Trend line. Well, we see a lot of chop out here. Right, chop out. Obviously, this is oversold. Right, we might see some bounce here. So I think maybe the right word for this week is relief rally or dead cat bounce or sucker rally, whatever you call it. Oversold bounce. Okay, now let's look at the chart pattern. I don't see any meaningful pattern here apart from a lot of, some people call it triple bottom, some people call inverted head and shoulder. Right, we see this looks like a ascending triangle to me. Right, probably that may suggest more action ahead of us. Okay, so does S&P 500. Right, we see potential to break out from that double bottom, but that doesn't happen. You need to try one more time. Okay, so let's look at important assets. Bitcoin. This is Bitcoin. Right, Bitcoin make a massive movement last Friday, but today retreat a bit. Okay, I don't see any meaningful pattern on Bitcoin. Right, again, at least it's still above 90,000. I think the key level we need to see is 100,000 to be broken, but we see bounce. We see strong bounce. Normally bounce in Bitcoin would support bounce in Nasdaq. Okay, normally. because Bitcoin is an indicator of risk on appetite, right? Risk on appetite. So I think technicals in the short term have improved. The question is, can it stay above the low that we made last week? In the case of Nasdaq, can it stay above 20,400, right? So enough with Bitcoin. Let's look at gold, right? If you look at gold, that's what it is, right? Gold, interesting. That looked like a bear flag to me, ready to move higher. We put heat map, right? We are already above these heat maps. Unfortunately, I don't see a strong selling volume. We see large order block. Could be interesting action in the dark pool that may suggest market to trend higher. We see that the first green candle after 3 days of consolidation, the first green candle, which suggests trend is back, uptrend is back, maybe upside momentum is also back. What about Nasdaq? Nasdaq is still in purple candle, which means we don't see signs of upside trend yet. Okay, this green candle are my favorite indicator, right? That combines, upside momentum as well as uptrend, right? In one candle. We don't see that yet. Okay, it's still purple. That means we don't see both action as at this moment. Anyway, this is interesting. I think let's look some of the important stock for this week, right? Again, I think the sectors that is interesting are all interest rate sensitive. Okay, we see financial sectors, right? Looks strong. Maybe you might suggest breakout in the movement. Okay, financial sectors, banking and financial sectors looks good, right? We see utilities also looks set. Okay, we see accumulation here, right? Utilities look stable here. Of course, healthcare, this is another defensive play, right? Start to break out, right? This is a multi-days breakout, multi-days new high, right? So all of these, okay, healthcare, these are all defensive play. Maybe consumer, right? Consumer discretionary, also strong, yeah? Consumers, well, all this suggests defensive, markets being defensive. Of course, we have real estate, okay, real estate sectors, which normally pays dividend, also looks strong to me, all right? Disappointingly, SLK, which is the technologies, right? The technologies are still weak, right? These are still weak. Right. Interesting. Okay. These are interesting. I think we need to see some of the momentum trends. Okay. To me, the most important part is to look at what I call is important sectors. And we all know that the most watched stocks currently is Nvidia. The most watched stocks. Okay. The results has been good. Okay. The earnings results last week has been good, but not so good. Okay. So Nvidia is resting now, resting down. This could be a double bottom in the making. We see huge accumulation, right? In Nvidia. Let's look at Tesla, right? Tesla is also, I would say most of the stock are oversold, okay, right at that 200 MAs, okay? We see back-to-back accumulation by the institutional, all right? Then let's look at Apple. This is the third most watched stocks, okay? Last week, again, oversold, consolidation, all these are consolidation. Meta is the fourth most watched stock this week. Same, all of them are actually resting right on their moving average, okay, right on their moving average. Okay, a couple of low float stocks for us to look at. iBio, okay? iBio has been our intense stocks in our live premium of the last few days, right? We see massive movement. It's all biotech stocks, okay? iBio actually one of my our low float stocks, okay? Strong momentum low float stock which burst to the upside, and this come from biotech. So biotech sectors, maybe something's going to happen. We see strong institutional positioning here. We also have ENVX, right? Which just start to bounce but not so strong, okay, but start to bounce, which is good, right? We also have Urban, another low flow stock, $60, right? Also set, perhaps stats to trend higher. ALFC again, $16, right? This is interesting, right? We see large order block here and going into a selling zone, right? Selling zone. Okay, so I think all of this are cool, right? But bear in mind, I think the most important thing that we need to understand is, I would say VIX, okay? VIX now stand at 15.15. Sorry, let me do that again, right? Sorry, it's at 20.3, okay? This CBOE Market Volatility Index, we stand at 20.3, right? So that means still elevated. The market makers are pricing a lot of volatility, right? That means the puts premium are very high, the calls premium are very high. The options premium are very high. So we have to be very careful. Market is still not smooth. It's still not, I would say, stable. Okay. Anything above 20, we need to respect that. Anything can happen. Okay, let's look at yield. This is the second most important index for me. The yield, the interest rate yield has come down to around 4.2 from 4.8. That suggests economic slowdown. That suggests the businessmen in America, they are pricing in a slowdown of the economy. Yeah. Probably because of Trump tariff and all that. Okay. So these are the two most important sentiment that we need to look at. But back again, I think if you look at the dark pool here, right, we see massive 10.3 million happening at 584. And so far, if you click on SPY, right, you see SPY stand above that 10 million. Okay, this is the price 593. We above that 10.2 million. We see something happening right now. 8.9 million institutional buying at 8.9 million. Right, so this is something for us to look at. Right. So yeah, okay. Let's look at the block trade indicator. I said now. We see EM, right? We see emerging market now. Now today, 3 million shares being bought. Block trade indicator, super block, 3 million shares in emerging market, in Ford, of course in Nvidia, about 2 million shares. 2 million shares just happened over the last few minutes, okay? Nvidia. So I'm a big fan of what I call this, dark pool, right? Let's change this to Nvidia. Let's see what happened now. As you all know that Nvidia is the mother of all stocks. We are living in AI era. Okay, so yeah, massive accumulation here. 7.8, 20.7 million just a couple of minutes ago. We got 8.4, 7.1. This is very strong buying and accumulation made by the what I call is the whale, okay, the sharks, right? Stuff like Vanguard, BlackRock, and all this. So I think it's interesting, right? Please avoid any overexposure. Don't overtrade. Use your stop loss. Use your trade. Lighten your position. Okay. I think stocks that we are marking right now, most of it is actually overbought. Yeah. These are bonds, right? Bonds set looks gaining momentum. Monster consumer defensive sectors. Monster Beverage Corporation, it's breaking out now. Very catalytic. Again, it's from industrial sector. We have Coca-Cola, right? I see no signs of market crashing, at least at this moment. Yeah, I see no signs of crashing. So far, all looks perfectly normal to me. There's Apple, right? Consolidating. There's Nvidia, and of course Tesla. After long consolidations, maybe trying to stabilize. Yeah, guys, I think that wraps up. Okay, what's my take on the current technical for this week? 21,000 is important for Nasdaq and 6,000 is important for S&P 500. We see some market direction clues. Massive buying on the dark pool, about 10 million shares in S&P 500. That can be potentially big and big bullish sentiment check for now. Keep an eye on support resistance level. Please cross-reference. We haven't do options flow studies. Let's do option flow studies soon. Keep it small and agile. Please be risk aware, okay, and position for catalysts, okay, this week. And I think the most important word that I probably think for this week is recovery rally, okay, recovery rally, or what we call it, dead cat bounce, okay. And the first week of the month is traditionally bullish, especially on this Friday. We have non-farm payroll jobs data, and number two is that March is also seasonally bullish. Because February closed lower, but what matters January? As January goes, so goes the year. January has been closing, bullish. Let's hope that this year will be great for this year. Okay, guys, that's all for this week. Okay, take care and happy trading.